afternoon, everyone. Am I audible to all of you? ठीक. So today, what we are going to do, previous year questions first. Okay, previous year questions of both Marx and Durkheim. Keep that previous year question Vishal publication before you. जिनके पास नहीं है सॉफ्ट कॉपी देख लो किसी से. Okay. So I think yesterday I have covered all the aspects of contemporary relevance also. Okay. And there are many reasons why Marxism is not relevant today. Equally available are those reasons tells us which tell us that yes, Marxism is relevant. Okay. So that's a very long debate. We don't need to go into those things. We are preparing for a competitive exam only. Hardly 250 words or 150 words we have to write. इतना जगह भी नहीं होता है कि इतना हम लिखें. Okay. Yesterday, last thing that I talked about was I capitalism, right? Ursula Hus. One more I would like to tell you. One more. Okay. These are those things which are not, it is not that these are going to be relevant only to Marx. These are those things which you will find relevant even in the subsequent units and chapters. Okay. Even in next chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in work and economy, in certification, you will find relevance of all these things that I've taught you in Marxism. Okay. Let me talk about one more variant that is very much prevalent today, that is surveillance capitalism. It is given by Shoshana Zuboff. Surveillance capitalism. Comparison. Yes, comparison. Comparison is something that you will do. मैं थोड़ा ना करूँगा. अरे भाई, I have taught you Durkheim, I have taught you Marx. Now can't you compare Marx and Durkheim? करा देंगे, कोई टेंशन नहीं है. सिंपल है, कुछ भी नहीं. Surveillance capitalism, Shoshana Zuboff. Remember, Marx told us with the ever increasing needs and desires, technological advancement will take place. Okay. And this technological advancement, क्या बोलता था Marx? This technological advancement will create new classes. It will transform relations of production, right? It will divide people into classes. The moment technological advancement takes place, society is divided into those who use or who own that technology and those who do not use or own that technology. Okay, and are dependent on them. Okay, and that's how exploitation comes in. Shoshana Zuboff is very much inspired by this thing. Okay. And she writes, she says that today the technology has become undemocratic. Technology has become undemocratic. She is writing that technology is a threat to democracy. Now you will wonder how. Kaise? Very important point she is making. This point will help you in writing essays also and in other units also. Okay. Technology is a threat to democracy. Technology is robbing us of our free will. Technology is hampering on our creativity and autonomy. The way you think is controlled by technology. And whatever you think is controlled by technology, and therefore democracy is not there. In the sense, there is no free will. There is no free will today. How? I'll tell you. पहले समझ लेते हैं बोल क्या रही है ये. There is no free will. What is democracy? You know, free will, equality, freedom, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Okay, and on the other hand, she's saying the technology is a threat to democracy, is a threat to free will, is a threat to human autonomy. Threat to human autonomy. Is a threat to human autonomy. Okay. Now, the question is how? The fact is, everything that we do on digital space today, everything that we do on social media, everything is shaped by these big tech, five big tech. Okay, what you think is known to Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg asks you what's on your mind, and he knows what's on your mind. Okay, Jeff Bezos knows what you want. Amazon, he knows what you want. Okay, what you want, what you think is tracked and monitored by these two corporates. Microsoft, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, these people have made us lazy. They have given us so many technological devices, okay, which have actually made us lazy. Okay, we have become dependent on these devices now. We cannot think of a life beyond these devices. Okay, whatever you do on internet, the things that you desire, the things that you think, the things that you like, the music that you listen to, the products that you want, even your marriage preference, the partner that you would like to get married to, your search history, everything is recorded, processed, analyzed, bought up, packaged, and sold. This is what big data is. Big data is nothing but big business. Business made out of the data that you give into the corporates. Okay. Now she is saying that since what we think, what we desire, what we want, where we go, what we eat, everything is tracked, monitored. तो डेमोक्रेसी किस बात की है भाई? Whenever you would go to a mall nearby, after coming out of that mall, Google will pop up a message on your mobile. How did you like that mall? So Google knows कि अभी अभी तुम होके आए हो वहां से. So every time your privacy is under surveillance, it is threat. technology is not letting us have that privacy. Okay, and privacy, as you know, is a fundamental right today. But किस बात का fundamental right? Democracy को खत्म हो गई. Basically, this is what she's saying. Capitalism basically has taken on a new form, surveillance. Okay, so capitalism is not just restricted to you going to the market and buying commodities. It is also shaping your desire as to what you should be buying. Okay, so this is a new form of capitalism, what he's talking about. ओके, चलो अभी अब हम काम करते हैं. फर्स्ट लेट अस नाउ डिस्कस प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस. विल स्टार्ट विद कार्ल मार्क्स. ओके, let us start with first question, page number 10, question number 1. Critically assess the Marxian theory of alienation. कर लोगे? मेरे बताने वाला कुछ है नहीं. Alienation. अच्छा. What is the meaning of critically assess? Remember, whether it is elucidate, whether it is elucidate, whether it is describe, whether it is elaborate, whether it is critically analyze, whether it is do you agree, whether it is critically examine, कुछ भी हो, तुमको लिखना वही है. ठीक है, अब इसके लिए क्लास लोग लेते हैं इंटर्न्स के लिए. बकवास बातें होती हैं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. इट डज नॉट मैटर कि वो पूछ क्या रहे हैं, डायरेक्टिव क्या लिखा है, इल्यूसिडेट का मीनिंग ये होता है, उसका वो, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. इतना कोई सोचता नहीं. द एग्जामिनर हु इज आस्किंग यू दैट क्वेश्चन, इतना उसने भी नहीं सोचा होगा. ठीक है, कि इल्यूसिडेट का ये होएगा, वो ये लिखेंगे. अरे भाई देखो, बात सीधी सी है. ये कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम है. कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम का मतलब क्या है? मैक्सिमम डायमेंशन. सीधी सी बात है. मैक्सिमम डायमेंशन इन मिनिमम टाइम. This is what competitive exam is. And when you have to write maximum dimension in minimum time, how does it matter? पूछ क्या रहे हैं? Do you agree पूछ रहे हैं, critically, ये सब. इसको तो पढ़ो ही मत. करना क्या है बेसिकली हर क्वेश्चन में हमने, मैं आपको बताता हूं. See, how would we approach this question? Question is critically assess the Marxian theory of alienation. First approach is obviously, whether it is irrespective of all these nonsense directives, the first fact is that you have to start with definition. अब चाहे डू यू अग्री लिखा हो या क्रिटिकल एग्जामिन, डेफिनेशन तो शुरू करना ही है. राइट? Definition you guys know very well. Social breakdown of the natural interconnectedness between the producer and his produce, or between the producer and the production relation. Simple. खत्म हो गया definition. Okay. Define कर दिया. अच्छा, what are you going to do after the definition? भाई एक फ्लो चार्ट बना दो. ठीक है, फ्लो चार्ट बना दो. कैसा बनाओगे? प्रिमिटिव कम्युनिज्म, देन एंशिएंट सोसाइटी, देन फ्यूडल सोसाइटी, देन कैपिटलिस्ट सोसाइटी. ओके, ऐसा करके बना दो. एंड देन project primitive communism as an era that had highest or Optimum. Highest or optimum? Optimum species being. Optimum level of species being or creative self. And this species being or creative self is under threat. The more we advance, the more species being has been under threat. Now, in the era of capitalism, the alienation is at its peak. Alienation at its peak. Okay. So, right after definition, you will make this flowchart. Okay. I'm not saying that everybody should make flowchart, and it's not that if you do not make flowchart, you are not going to get marks. Obviously, without flowchart also you can get same marks, but these things add up to presentation. Okay, presentation in the sense examiner will be forced to not ignore your answer or to not ignore what you have written. Okay, हमको उसको बांध के रखना है. Our job is to catch his attention. This is our job as a student. Okay. Okay, so I have defined. Second thing what I did is I made a flow chart. Okay. Third, what I did, the third thing that I will do is I'll discuss about alienation of both bourgeois and proletariat. This is the third thing I'll do. I'll not restrict myself to proletariat only. Okay. I'll discuss bourgeois proletariat alienation. कितने मार्क्स का है ये? 10 मार्क्स का है, ज्यादा लिखेंगे नहीं इसके ऊपर, ठीक है? bourgeois proletariat definition आपने दे दी. Okay. Now, and fourth, what will you say? That Marx focused more on this. And since he focused more on this, so there are 4 types of alienation. Okay. 4 types you will describe. Okay. 4 types you will describe with not much of explanation. Just name of those types and 2 or 3 words or 5, 6 words for each of them. Not a big deal. Okay. ज़्यादा explanation नहीं करना है यहाँ पर. Once you are done with this, and what will you do? Once you are done with this, if possible, in these types, give one example, if possible. Okay. Examples. Example, you have many. तो तुम्हारे पास बहुत examples हैं. In fact, while talking about alienation, also mention one of the form of alienation as representative or a type of commodity fetishism. Okay, commodity fetishism. ये भी कर दो. You are adding one keyword extra. Okay, one concept extra. And you have already added one more concept here, bourgeois alienation. You have already given examples also. You have already described one type of alienation, that is commodity fetishism. And after this, what would be the next step? Solution. Solution to eliminate alienation. Solution to eliminate alienation given by Marx. First solution was decrease working day length. Decrease working day length. Second, communism. Second is communism. Once you have done this, what will you do after this? Remember, we have still not written the most important word, that is however. However. Okay. However. However. Today, even leisure is shaped by capitalism and the masses have become alienated from leisure. Bracket, Gores and Marcuse. No need to write full name. No need to write like this. According to Gores and Marcuse, better write whatever they have written and then in bracket Gores and Marcuse. Khatam. Okay. And in service sector, there is white collar alienation. Very simple English. No hi-fi word. In service sector there is white collar alienation. In the sense, थ्रो करो कीवर्ड्स को फेंकते जाओ उसके मुंह पे. White collar alienation. CW Mills. ठीक है. In conclusion, last, because see, if you will count everything ना, ज़्यादा words नहीं हुए होंगे अभी. I think ये यहाँ तक आते आते मेरे को 140 word हुए होंगे maximum. That also depends, the type of words that you have chosen. उस पर भी depend करता है. In conclusion, in fact, what you will do, now you have one more choice. Either you conclude with a random statement or you give some nice conclusion. Conclusion जिसमें you are supporting government also, in the sense you are trying to tell what government is doing. Now this is something that you will have to do because you are writing for civil service examination. It is not purely sociology ka paper, it is civil service exam ka paper also. Okay, so what you can do is at the end you will say, but the government of India has launched many programs to eliminate alienation, like many programs to eliminate alienation, like Startup India. What is Startup India? Nobody will be proletariat. Everybody can become bourgeoisie. Startup India. Okay. Whosoever feel exploited, they are free to operate or to open up their own private organization, Startup India, and we will encourage you. We will give you the initial capital. Okay. The initial liquidity. We will support you, give support to you. Okay. Startup India. Stand Up India. Stand Up India is for fulfilling the entrepreneurial spirit of the lower caste, tribal, women. Stand Up India, the marginalized sections. Okay. उनके अंदर वो spirit डालने के लिए we have Stand Up India. Okay. For minorities, we have schemes like Ustad, Nai Manzil, Udan, Kill India. क्या क्या नहीं लिख सकते हो तुम? खत्म. Did we cover all the dimensions? Is there any dimension that is left? Can anybody give suggestions or any recommendation? If feminist, yes, we can talk about feminist also. Since it is 10-mark question, so you can write feminist also. Instead of C. Wright Mills, you can talk about early Hochschild emotional labor, or you can talk about alienation from the potential that Simone de Beauvoir and Anne Oakley spoken about. Sir, if it was 250 words, wo to fir, there is no end to it, In that case, Even if it was 250 word, does not matter, because even in that case you would start with definition only. Even in that case you will make flowchart. Even in that case you will discuss alienation of bourgeoisie proletariat. Even in that case you will discuss 4 types of alienation. The only difference is here you would be explaining in detail. In detail, it is not that you are randomly throwing words, giving example. Here you have to describe those things in bit detail also. Okay. 4 types of alienation, and then there you can also discuss other uh, you know perspectives to alienation, like feminist, or alienation varies from one industry to another industry, Robert Bronner. Okay. और alienation of bureaucrats, Max Weber. तो अंत नहीं है. Okay. So now tell me, do you really think those directives matter now? कुछ भी डायरेक्टिव हो, whether it is elucidate, elaborate, discuss, critically analyze, critically examine, चाहे कुछ भी हो, लिखना तो यही है मैंने, और इसी में मार्क्स आएंगे. Okay. This body meets demand of all the nonsense directives. Okay. You just have to ensure one thing from your end, that you are covering maximum dimensions. Maximum dimensions. What is the meaning of maximum dimensions? The maximum dimensions, of course, include first and foremost thing, definition itself. People write many things, they miss out on definition. It happens. That is why I always give emphasis on writing with definition first. The first thing that you should write is definition. Okay. Where the marks get reduced in paper, it all depends on writing skills also matter, and content, and also the understanding of the question. Abhi to question सीधा था. See, this question was very straightforward. Critically analyze alienation. This is very straightforward question. The moment question घुमा के पूछ ले, घुमा कर, वहां पे मार्क्स का फर्क आ जाता है. ओके, घुमा कर पूछ लेते हैं जब. ठीक है. Definition. First, dimension. Okay. Second, some diagram or flowchart for presentation. I mean, these things matter actually. Okay. 3. And it's like, how should I explain? This presentation, this diagram or flowchart thing. Diagram, flowchart. Diagram and flowchart is something that is the minimum thing that anybody would expect from you. But today it is projected as something that should be there, or it is projected as a marketable commodity. In the sense, how to make diagrams, uske liye ek YouTube video hoti hai. Okay. You will realize that everything has become commodified. These are natural, innate character of human being. We express, we are a creative, expressive being. But now that expression of us has become alienated from us and is projected as something external to us. How to make diagram? हाँ, अभी click करते हैं. Commodity fetishism यहाँ पे भी हो गया. Okay. This has become marketable commodity. है कुछ नहीं है. It is inherent to us. ये हमारे अंदर होता है. But it is projected as something that is external to us. We fetish making diagrams and flowcharts. कैसे बनाए? ठीक है, ऐसे मत करना. अंदर से आना चाहिए. Trust me. Whenever you make flowchart, it should come naturally. If you force yourself to make flowchart, two things will happen. Either you will end up wasting time, Okay, because flowchart is just a means to end, it is not the end in itself, but somehow you will make it an end in itself and you'll waste a lot of time in thinking of diagram. वो करना मत. If you are not able to think of diagram, let it be. There is no compulsion. There is no compulsion. Nobody actually tells us that making diagram is compulsory. Either it is coming naturally to you or it is not. The least thing that you can do is to be prepared with certain flowcharts. Already you should have some flowcharts in your mind. This is the minimum thing that you can do. You cannot go there randomly and make flowcharts in every question naturally. Har question mein aisa ho nahi pata. Within 3 hours it is difficult. So either you can prepare those flowcharts already with you. Okay. Anyhow, the third thing, after definition presentation, what will happen eventually? You will have to discuss if that question involves anything like typology or classification. Okay, typology or classification. Fourth is examples. Fifth, counter. Okay, counter to what? Counter to all these four. That means criticism. Okay, sixth. Now sixth one will be optional. Optional in the sense, if you can bring anything from the administration, specifically from Indian administration, okay, Indian bureaucracy, if you can introduce any scheme, Indian bureaucracy, any scheme, okay, which caters to the demand of question, only then it is optional, it is not compulsory. Forcefully mat karna, ठीक है, forcefully करने पे खराब होएगा काम. Nothing should look like force fit. It should be smooth, very smooth. Okay. Okay. Seventh is conclusion. Conclusion is something that is, you can even mix that conclusion with the sixth or fifth point. I mean, it's not that you have to write conclusion heading separately. ये नहीं करना, इसे conclusion heading separately. Okay. Smooth लगना चाहिए वो एकदम. Now, whether you write the answer in point form or you write the answer in paragraph, ऐसा नहीं होता है कि someone who has written in point form will get more marks, someone who has written in paragraph will get low marks. ऐसा तो होता ही नहीं है, obviously. Okay, so it is completely your choice. Both are equally good, applicable, valid. Okay, you may even make table, okay, and then write paragraph, or you may even write paragraphs and then write points describing the paragraph, or you may even start with points and then write a paragraph. कोई एक वो थोड़ा ना होता है कोई इसका. It is completely your choice. में कुछ वो नहीं होता है रेडीमेड. Okay. Sir, please guide on writing conclusion as words are very few. Conclusion, remember, when you have to write conclusion should be very balanced one. In the sense, in conclusion, generally we should be talking about the contemporary relevance of that thing. Contemporary relevance of that thing. In 1 or 2 lines, we can do that. Or we can also negate completely. Okay. There are many choices to conclude your answer. The third choice would be to write whatever you have written. The whole answer can be summarized, okay, in 1 or 2 lines. So conclusion is something which is natural, in the sense there is no ready-made masala flavor for that. For 20 marks, we need to write 3 pages, sir. Um, for 20 marks, you need to write 250 words. I don't want to talk about pages. Okay, pages, you are given 4 pages generally. Okay, but last year what happened in sociology specifically, they gave 3 pages, especially in paper 2. For paper 1, they gave 4 pages for 250 for 20 marks. Okay, so this is the first time that it happened. And it also implies that next time you may have 3 pages only for 20 mark, even in paper 1. Okay, generally the fact is, first let us try to understand one very basic thing. Okay, मैं चीज बताता हूँ. What is the main issue? 3 page, 4 pages. Okay. For 20 mark. Remember, UPSC will give you 3 page or 4 page. Okay, why? Because, like for example, if UPSC gives me 4 page for 20 mark, that is 250 word. Why it is given? Because UPSC knows. For that matter, any body knows that different kind of students are writing exam. Everybody would be having different handwriting. Okay, some may be writing 4 words only in one line. इतना बड़ा बड़ा लिखते हैं, चौड़ा चौड़ा लिखते हैं, कर्सरी में लिखते हैं. Some may be writing एकदम चिपका चिपका के. Okay, so to accommodate both the people, on average they would give you 4 page कि भाई जिसकी गंदी से गंदी राइटिंग भी है, फैला फैला के लिखते हैं, वो 4 पेज ले लो. जिसकी ठीक ठाक राइटिंग है वो 3 पेज में खत्म कर लो. ठीक है, तो 3-4 पेज. Okay, the pages, number of pages are given only and only to accommodate different kinds of calligraphy. Okay, the art of writing. Okay, and therefore our endeavor should not be to fill the pages. The reason for giving pages is different. They are not giving you pages so that you fill all of them. If you do not fill, then you will not get. This is not a class 11th or 12th का paper. This is not अंडर ग्रेजुएशन का पेपर. ओके, जहाँ वहाँ हमारी मेंटेलिटी देखो क्या होती है. हम वहाँ बचपन से ऐसे ही सीखते हैं चीज़ों को. पेज भरना होगा तब मार्क्स आते हैं. ओके, ये बड़ी गंदी सी चीप सी मेंटेलिटी है. दिस इज कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम. यहाँ पे एग्जामिनर्स डू नॉट रियली see whether you have filled the pages or not. In fact, I'll also, yes, what I'll do is maybe after this week I'll also introduce some of the students who have been there in my test series also. Okay, like last year, he's already IPS Maurya. Okay, so I'll make him talk to you guys about writing. Okay. He does not fill more than 3 pages. I mean, I have seen many of his answers. He write even in 4 pages. He writes 2.5 page. Okay, and still, okay, he's IPS, and this year also he gave attempt. Okay, and he cleared mains with the same writing style. Okay, so even this Shrestha Anupam, All India rank 19, he was also my test series student. Okay, since I am also very new to this industry, 2019 में अभी मैंने start किया, तो maximum अभी test series student हैं मेरे. ठीक है, so he also had this writing art. Okay, he did not used to क्या कहते हैं, elaborate much to fill the pages. Filling the pages was not the end or not the objective for him. The objective for him was to cover the dimensions. Whether covering the dimensions is taking 3 page, 4 page, it does not matter. Okay, if dimensions are covered, your answer is finished. If 250 words are over, answer is finished. And also there is no patthar ka lakir. It's like 250, you have to count 250. It may be even 220 or it may even be 280. Okay, so roughly you have to see for yourself कि आपके कितने हो जाते हैं. 250 वर्ड्स को आप कितना टाइम में, कितने पेजेस में करते हो, हाउ मेनी पेजेस डू यू टेक ऑन एवरेज टू राइट 250 वर्ड. ओके, so gradually you will realize कि 3 pages is more than enough. So everything clear to you now? ठीक है. Next is, what is the Marxist concept of fetishism of commodities? Fetishism fetishism of commodity. उसको ध्यान रखना, always remember you have to write the counterpoint. चाहे कुछ भी क्वेश्चन हो, कुछ भी क्वेश्चन हो, you have to write the counter. Okay, whether it is do you agree or do you not agree does not matter. You have to write counter. Fetishism of commodities. Very simple. What is the approach that we are going to follow? First of all we are going to define. यही हमने सीखा है जिंदगी में, ठीक है. First we will define. अच्छा, define what? First we will define fetishism. Okay, not directly fetishism of commodity. First we will define fetishism. What is fetishism? Fetishism is basically, fetishism is a form of religion. Okay, it is a form of religion. Fetishism is a form of religion characterized by mystical or magical objects that seem external to the actors. Simple. ठीक है. Fetishism is a form of religion characterized by mystical, magical objects that seem external to the actors. Okay. Now, what will you do? You will say that Marx believed. अब यहां पे मार्क्स आ गया है, ठीक है. Marx believed that very much similar to fetishism, very similar to fetishism, the working class feel alienated from its creation, where creation assumes a reality of its own and seem external to the actors involved in the making of those commodities. Okay, and somehow it gives an impression that these commodities are, living beings. I mean, लगता है कि जीते जागते हैं ये चीजें. ऐसी हमारी इच्छा होती है इन चीजों को पाने की, जीते जागती चीजें लगती हैं. We do not realize ये dead labor है, dead capital है. This is nothing. Okay, basically. Marx believed that very much similar to fetishism, the working class feel alienated from its own creation, And this is what is called as fetishism of commodities. Okay, this is what is called. तो देखो क्या किया मैंने पूरा समा बांधा, ठीक है, उसको फील दिलाई और कनेक्ट किया उसको, फिर मैंने फेटिशिज्म ऑफ कमोडिटीज के साथ, पहले फेटिशिज्म मैंने उसको ऐसे उसको कन्विंस किया कि मुझे आता है, ठीक है, फिर उसको मैंने दिखाया कि देखो मेरे को अप्लाई भी करना आ जाता है फॉर ऑफ कमोडिटीज में। ये हमने उसके साथ खेलना है, वी हैव टू प्ले विद एग्जामिनर। ओके, नाउ व्हाट वी विल डू, now we will give examples. When you define something, you have to give example. Okay, what is the example of fetishism of commodity? For example, think of any object that is creation of labor, but somehow it is having worth more than the labor power. For example, high end technological devices like iPhone. Okay, always try to give real life examples. When you give real life examples ना, examiners को बड़ा अच्छा लगता है because they feel that you have clarity. Okay, for example, device like iPhone. Okay, and do not give examples which he may not know about. Like for example, I cannot write PlayStation. Okay, he does not know what is PlayStation. Okay, he knows, but he knows what is iPhone. High-end technological devices like iPhone. Okay, now remember, commodity fetishism is not just limited to these commodities. Is not just limited to these commodities. Why? Why? Because when you listen to music, the singers, the cultural goods, the so-called cultural industry, the manufacturing industry is producing goods which have assumed a reality bigger than those players, those creators who were involved in making of those commodities. Similarly, cultural industry is producing cultural goods which assume a reality bigger than those people who are already like them. Okay, so basically, this concept, what you will write is, this is not just limited to physical commodities. Neo-Marxist Adorno and Horkheimer believed that consumption of cultural goods, okay, like pop music is also alienating us. Consumption of cultural goods like pop music is also alienating us, and therefore it is also a form of commodity fetishism. Okay, you fetish not for objects, you fetish for a stereotyped, monotonous, repetitive kind of music or web series, okay, which are very ordinary but somehow assume a reality bigger than what it seems like. Okay, so that is also a form of commodity fetishism according to Adorno and Horkheimer. Okay, pop music and web series. Okay, now The next thing that you are going to do is you are going to elevate to next level now. Okay, there is one scholar, George Lukács. George Lukács. You will find this person in your notes today. Okay, handouts. Since you know that I cannot teach everything in the class, limited time होता है. Limited time होने के बावजूद भी देखो art class ले ली मैंने marks में. George Lukács. George Lukács has given one concept called as reification. Reification. हाँ, yes, कर सकते हैं. इनफैक्ट शुरुआत में ही. Okay, I'll tell you what are the different approaches through which we can write this answer. Okay, but I'm just telling you what else we can write other than what we know. Okay. George Lukács is obviously he is also a Marxist scholar. Okay. He has given one concept, reification. What is the meaning of reification? George Lukács is saying, just like Feuerbach told us that God is our creation, has assumed a reality bigger than the creator, and therefore the creator is alienated from his creation, that is the God. Just like Marx told us that commodities are our creation, but commodities assume a reality bigger than the creators. Okay, similarly, family is our creation, but family assumes a reality bigger than us, and we do not realize that family is our own making. Nation is something that assumes a reality bigger than all of us, and we do not realize. So basically, the extension of those concepts, okay, from God to commodity to nation, family, religion, all those things. Now, this is what reification is. The literal meaning of reification, how did he define? He says to reify something. To reify something is equivalent to giving a reality to a form of consciousness. To reify something is equivalent to giving or assuming form of consciousness as real. Let me rephrase it. Is equivalent to assuming form of consciousness as real, and therefore it gains control over you. When you believe that yes, family as a structure exists, the family will gain control over you. Okay, nation has gained control over us to such an extent, इसको लिखो मत, to such an extent that we have become divided. We have become divided. Some are nationalist, some are anti-nationalist. Okay, this is how nation has gained control over us. The form of consciousness has assumed a reality to such a level that we have conflict every day today in the name of who is nationalist and who is not. Okay, so a sociologist laughs over these people. Okay. When TV media is flooded with those people having debate on what amounts to be called as nationalist, what not, तो फिर लगता है कि यार, you know, it is nothing but basically new form of religion only that we are fighting over. पहले religion के ऊपर fight होती है, अब nation के ऊपर, but difference है नहीं कुछ, चीज वही है. So basically, this is what reification is, and reification is nothing, basically extension of commodity fetishism to social forms of consciousness. Okay, this was limited to material condition. and this is extended to social forms. Fetishism of commodity. Okay. Now, हमने क्या किया पूरे आंसर में? In the whole answer, what we did, we projected individuals as puppets, as if they are controlled by structures, okay, as if we do not have any consciousness of our own, okay, as if nation has actually become bigger to all of us and controlling us, and we are not doing anything, okay, on our own. We are not active or conscious being to understand these things. So basically, Marxist, neo-Marxists, whosoever they are, to them individuals are simply participant. Their role is very limited to the process which they themselves have not entered into. Process is external to them. Okay. So what will we do? We will also present a counter side, a critique to this fetish of commodity. Fetish of commodity का भी critique हम दिखाएंगे. Okay. Critique. Critique to fetish. Okay. Critique to fetishism of commodities. And in writing critique to fetish of commodities, in fact, in the social forms of consciousness, you can write one more. I have told you nation, I have told you patriarchy. I think I did not tell you. Patriarchy also you can write in social forms of consciousness. Okay. So in critique to fetishism of commodities, you can discuss some feminist scholar. Okay. Like Nancy Hartsock, which I told you yesterday. Okay. Critique to fetish of commodities. Nancy Hartsock. Okay. And what does Nancy Hartsock tells us? याद है किसी को? Nancy Hartsock. Women as commodities. हाँ, बिल्कुल. Okay. Women as commodities. This dimension you must write. Feminist critique. Feminist critique. Okay. And there you can give examples about dowry, bride price, trafficking, international trafficking of women, prostitution network, trophy wife. Okay. And you may even give example of the recent demand of women to have wage for housework. Okay. To have wage for housework. Okay. To have wage for housework because they are the real source of surplus value. Okay. Now, the second approach to write this question could be something like this: commodity fetishism. You could have discussed definition. Okay, after definition, you could have started talking about commodity having use value, exchange value. Okay. Now, what is capitalism? Capitalism is when use values transformed into exchange values. Okay. Which simply means that labor power creates surplus value, and this surplus value is more than the worth of labor power. Okay, exchange value bigger than use value. ठीक है, exchange value bigger than use value. Surplus is more and bigger than the worth of the labor. Okay, and this creates commodity fetishism. एक तो ये तरीका है एकदम, आप मैकेनिज्म, यू आर ट्राइंग टू शो द मैकेनिज्म ऑफ द fetishism, how fetishism develops. Okay, so this is one mechanism to show that. Here you can talk about that equation also. Value of commodity is C plus V plus S. This V has created C. Constant machine ऐसे हवा से तो बन के नहीं आई है, machine laborers नहीं बनाई है. Okay, and this S is also creation of this V. So what is the source of value of commodity? The real source, the surplus. The very source of surplus is this. Okay, this is also the source of this C is also V. So the real source is surplus is V. So if you remove V and you have only C and C, how will you have S? You cannot have S. Okay. So since V has led to C and S, but since S is bigger than this V, which is the unpaid labor, is bigger than the paid labor, here comes rate of exploitation, and from here comes fetish of commodity. You would want to have it. Okay, a desire would be created in you, as if you do not have it, then you are nothing. Okay, and why this desire actually got internalized in us in the first place? Because our worth was lesser than the commodity. That is why desire. Okay, this is also second approach. Though whatever suits you, you can follow that. There is no one answer in social science में कोई एक आंसर नहीं होता है. Now, next is, according to Marx, how are human beings alienated from their human potential, and what does he suggest to change this? You tell me. What is the demand of the question? क्या पूछ रहा है क्वेश्चन में? नहीं पता चल रहा है. According to Marx, how are human beings alienated from their human potential, and what does he suggest to change this? Alienation from species being. Okay, यही तो explain करना है. Alienation from species being, its type and solution. Okay. तो इसमें तो कोई बड़ी बात ही नहीं है. This you can easily do. First, what will you do? First, you will identify keywords. Human beings, of course, is not a keyword here. General सी बात है. Alienated is a keyword, and human potential is a keyword. There are two keywords. Okay, alienation and human potential. And third keyword is change. How to change this? Suggestion to change this. So first, of course, we will what we will do, in order to start off with the answer, we have to understand the tone of the question, and if as far as I can figure out, I think it is better to start with the definition of human potential and then show alienation. First, तो human potential हमें दिखाना है. If you remember, when I taught you mode of production theory, I started off with the assumption that human is creative potential being. The only difference between man and animal is that man is the working animal. Okay, it is only through work that he expresses his creativity, his potential. So that is human potential, the species being. Okay, the Homo faber term that I talked about, Homo faber. Okay, so first I'll start with Homo faber. Okay, or I'll describe it as human potential, and then I'll describe the meaning of human potential, creativity, and how this creativity is expressed through work, expressed through work. And work is what? Work is the first historical act for survival. You cannot survive yourself without working. You have to have food, clothes, shelter, and food, clothes, shelter are not readily available in the nature. You have to work on the nature, transform your labor. The creative potential has to be unleashed on the nature so as to transform nature or natural resources into food, clothes, and shelter. Okay, so this what I will explain. And once I'm done with this, then I'll show कि अब ये potential हमसे छीन लिया है. ठीक है, छीन लिया है हमसे. We are robbed of our potential. We are robbed of our creativity. The more technological advancement took place, the more relations of production got transformed in favor of the oppressed. And the oppressors were alienated from their creative self, their potential. Okay, ये बोलेंगे हम. And this is at its peak during capitalism, in capitalism. Okay, यही तो alienation है. कनेक्ट कर दिया दोनों को. ठीक है, और फिर हमने क्या करना है? फिर हमने एलियनेशन के 4 टाइप बता देने हैं. Okay, after this we have to discuss the alienation types. Okay, one of them is alienation from species being. Alienation from species being. Okay, and उसके बाद we'll have to talk about solution. बताओ. And what is the solution given by Marx? Decrease the length of working day and communism. And then we can also discuss that even after decreasing length of working day, there is no guarantee that we are not alienated. Rather, the leisure that we have now gotten after the decrease in length of working day is also something that is alienated from us. Okay, we are alienated from leisure also. Okay, next, analyze Marxian conception of historical materialism as a critique of Hegelian dialectics. ये तो कर लोगे. I have taken 3 lectures. 3 lectures लिए मैंने सिर्फ इस चीज के लिए. Evaluate Marx's idea on mode of production. कर लोगे. अच्छा, ठीक है. क्या करना है? इस अप्रोच क्या होगी? मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन पहले तो हम डिफाइन करेंगे. See what happens whenever you start feeling anxious after looking at the question. Whenever you start feeling insecure, uncomfortable, uneasiness feel होने लग जाए, always do one thing. Start with definition. तुम्हें नहीं आता, कोई बात नहीं. You define it. When you will define ना, while defining only, आंसर आना लग जाएगा दिमाग में. राइटिंग करते करते, इसलिए ना सोच के कभी कुछ होता नहीं है बैठकर. इसलिए लोग बोलते हैं आंसर राइटिंग. Answer writing is not doing just for the sake of writing answer. Answer writing is actually a process through which you start thinking, because that thinking is something that will not come to your head if you are not writing. Okay, तो जैसे फर्स्ट टेस्ट देने के बाद you thought about many things, तो इसलिए आंसर राइटिंग इंपॉर्टेंट है. Okay, so first what we'll do, we will define mode of production. And what is the definition? The definition of mode of production is nothing but it is simply reflection of the way societies are organized to meet the ends or needs. Okay, a concept coined by Marx to explain how societies are organized to meet the ends or needs. ठीक है, उसके बाद क्या करेंगे? कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे। उसके बाद एक डायग्राम बना देंगे। ठीक है, मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन कंसिस्ट ऑफ 2 वायर्स, 2 तार हैं इसके अंदर। Okay, there are 2 wires. One is red color wire, second is white color wire. The red color wire is means of production. The white color wire is relations of production. Okay, now this engine called as mode of production, which is an engine, okay, a historical engine. This engine will run according to the changing needs. In order to gratify those needs, technology will change. With this, relations of production will change. Technology means means of production changing. With respect to change in means of production, relations of production will change. Okay, and with the dialectics between the means of production, relation of production, the mode of production will also change. यही तो है पूरा हिस्ट्री का वो जो हिसाब किताब। ओके, first you have needs, then you have technology to meet those needs, then you have some owners of the technology and some non-owners. This brings in change in the relations of production. It is no longer communal relation, it is asymmetrical relation. Some are the owners, some are not owners. Okay, and this brings in conflict. Okay, this brings in conflict. It is not bringing integration or interdependence. This brings in oppression and exploitation. ओके, इसको ध्यान रखना है। अच्छा, अब इसे बोल रहा है कि इवेल्युएट करो। इवेल्युएट का मतलब कुछ है नहीं। इवेल्युएट वो करेगा आपका पेपर, आपको लिखना वही है। ठीक है, आपको लिखना वही है। यू हैव टू, आखिर में यू हैव टू डिस्क्राइब क्रिटिसिज्म ऑल्सो। ठीक है, डिस्क्राइब क्रिटिसिज्म। क्रिटिसिज्म इज समथिंग दैट आई हैव टोल्ड यू। ओके, हिस्ट्री इज नॉट द मेकिंग ऑफ कार्ल मार्क्स. Okay, history is the making of human society, and Karl Marx is no one to prophesize on the motion of history. Okay, Marx believed that capitalism as a mode of production will have inherent contradictions, and from the ruins or the womb of capitalism will develop the next mode of production, that is socialism. When he speaks like this, he seems that he's a prophet, he's an astrologer. Okay, and Ernesto Laclau and Shanta Mouffe clearly tells us, they clearly tell us that instead of prophesizing on history or talking about the end of history, we should rather study why some of the events happened in some of the pockets, like Russia, China witnessed socialist revolutions. Why no other country in the world witnessed socialist revolution? Acha, very interesting question, by the way. So this is the power of sociology. Sociologist tells us the right questions that should be asked. Sociologist does not tell us the right answers. It always tells us what are the right questions that one should be asking. Okay. There is one scholar, Slavoj Žižek. Okay. Slavoj Žižek. Žižek says that the art of change lies in asking right questions. Okay, when you ask right questions, change happens then. And sociology is that discipline. And that is why it is considered as very dangerous, because the question that it asks to the people, the society, it those questions shake our consciousness. Okay, okay. Now, in after criticism, what you can do is, when you can simply explain one more critique here, what will you do in criticism? I'll tell you two more scholars now. Okay, Nancy Armstrong. Nancy Armstrong. Not Nancy Hartsock, Nancy Armstrong. ओके, नैन्सी आर्मस्ट्रॉन्ग क्या बोलती है? मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन के क्रिटिक में है ये, यू कैन राइट, ओके, और यू मे नॉट इवन राइट, जरूरी नहीं है सारे स्कॉलर लिखो जो मैं बता रहा हूं, ओके. Nancy Armstrong says, when I read Karl Marx's theory of historical materialism, it seems highly patriarchal theory. Okay, why? कार्ल मार्क्स क्या बोलता है? In the whole theory of mode of production, you will see that Marx is talking about the very evolution of society actually happened because of the needs of men. Okay, the men were the hunters, okay, gatherers. I told you the whole story. Okay, men were hunter gatherers. Okay, they were those who generated new needs, new technology got developed, controlled by men, some other section of men. अरे तो women कहाँ थी, क्या कर रही थी? Where were women? Okay, what were women doing? In fact, last year only in the Hindu, this man the hunter thesis has been rejected. Okay, generally when we read about the ancient societies, we generally think of man the hunter. But last year on, not last year, in fact this year only, इसी साल जनवरी में, one article came on Hindu. Okay, now that article is clearly rejecting man the hunter thesis. It is telling about women the hunter and man the gatherer. Women were the hunter and man were the gatherer. So when you have these kind of thesis coming up, you start questioning all the theories made on those premises that man were hunter. Okay, फिर लगता है कि ये theory फिर invalid होगी. Okay, in fact yesterday only चार्ल्स डार्विन की जो theory है, okay, natural selection वाली, उसके ऊपर question हुआ है. Nancy Armstrong is saying that when Marx calls men as creative, working, highly potential, artistic, it leads to one thing. When men are projected as creative, working, highly potential, artistic, it legitimizes the gender inequality, that men are creative, men are superior, men are expressive, therefore women सिर्फ जो हम कह रहे हैं वो सुनते जाओ. Okay, this legitimizes gender inequality. Okay, and what will you do? What will you do if you write this? Very easy. In order to substantiate what you have written, you can simply quote examples from current affairs to tell to the examiner that even in the work sphere, you will see the labor force participation rate of women is very low in India. LFPR is very low in India. Okay, we have one of the highest LFPR, but when it comes to women labor force participation rate, it is least because women are not considered as creative or potential or working being in India. Okay, rather women are considered as symbol of the community, as a commodity. Okay, that should be preserved. A woman who's seen as working is seen as a threat to the masculine trap in which that woman has been caged and out of which the patriarch gain their subsistence and status. Okay. In any field, whether science, parliament, education, you will see absence of women. You can quote multiple, इसके बाद रोज डेटा आते हैं. There is no one data on this. Okay, every day you will have data on this. Okay, गूगल पे तुम डालोगे बहुत मिल जाएगा. You can write one more scholar here. Chula Smith Firestone. Chula Smith Firestone. Chula Smith Firestone says that history of all societies hitherto has not been history of class struggle. Rather, history of all societies hitherto has been history of sex and sexual struggle. Okay, sexual struggle. History is not class struggle, history is sexual struggle. Okay, that means it was the struggle between men and women which has led to the evolution of societies. Okay, struggle between men and women. Who will be at home and who will be working? This was the struggle. Okay. Now, you may also write one more scholar here, Karl Popper. When you read mode of production theory, okay, Marx believes that everything is going in a scientific fashion, okay, and ultimately he produces his theory, scientific socialism, and he believed it is natural, it is inevitable for the mode of production to collapse, and from the ruins of that collapsed mode of production for the rise of next mode of production, all these things are inevitable. It is not in the hands of any class or individuals. This will happen automatically. Like for example, some people would say Gandhi gave us freedom. Really, Gandhi gave us freedom? No, it was inevitable in the language of Marx. If not Gandhi, someone else would have been in. It does not matter, because at the end of the day, British का जो पैसा था सब खत्म हो गया था. Okay, World War was going on. Okay, it was inevitable for the British Raj to also get collapsed. Okay, even if it was not Gandhi, someone else would have been there. Does not matter. Because it is the largely it is the economy which is the driving force. Okay, if British is not able to sustain their army or to sustain their wealth or whatever that may be out of World War or all that happened, so आजाद तो होना ही था. It was inevitable. Okay, so Karl Popper is saying that Marxism. Okay, what I told you was how Marx is scientific. Okay, what I just told you is that how Marx is scientific. Everything happened with natural evolution, structures governing the evolution of society. Okay, Marxism is pseudoscience. Marxism is pseudoscience. This is what Karl Popper says. Okay. Why? Karl Popper has written one book, Poverty of Historicism. Poverty of Historicism. मतलब कि poverty of historicism means whosoever call themselves the theoreticians of history, they are poor. Poor not economically poor, ऐसा नहीं कि पैसे नहीं उनके पास. Poor in the sense their theories reek of poverty. In the sense their theories are highly poor. Okay. Their theories are not substantial. One of them is Marx. बहुत बड़े बड़े लोगों को इससे क्रिटिसाइज किया, but I am telling you only about Marx. Poverty of historicism. Why? Because he says that what Marxists do, they collect data only to verify their theory. Okay. As I told you, the difference between science and pseudoscience is that science does not verify. Science is always ready to falsify. This is the test of science, na? If you want to see whether something is scientific or not. Like for example, भाई एक बात बताओ, ये जो टेबल है, if I lift this table, okay, this table is approximately 50 kg, आराम से, नहीं उससे ज्यादा ही होगा, at least 100 kg, okay. If I lift this table, I will have backache. Okay. Now this statement is scientific or not? Yes. Why? Because it can be tested. अच्छा, ठीक है. It can be tested. In the sense, tested is okay. Tested is okay, but test, what the meaning of test implies? Verification or falsifiability. In the sense, it can be falsified also. Okay. If I lift this table, okay, and I do not have backache, I do not feel backache, that means the statement was falsifiable. Okay. If I have backache by chance, I got backache because I'm weak, only because I'm weak. So it has verified my statement. Okay, it has verified my statement, but the fact is in both the cases the statement was testable. But only in the first case it was falsifiable. So a theory to be called as purely scientific, it should be falsifiable. Okay, should be falsifiable, remember this. Marxism is not falsifiable. There is no condition that you can ever prove Marx wrong. Always Marxism would be seen as very right. You will start collecting data, you will end up verifying Marxism. You will see, yes, there is oppression, there is, all those things are there, definitely. Okay. If the working class are not able to mobilize themselves against the bourgeoisie, they are living in false consciousness. Okay, Marxism is right. If working class are alienated, in the sense, if working class are not able to mobilize themselves, okay, first, in the first case, they are in false consciousness. Secondly, if the working class do not feel exploited at all, okay, again false consciousness. If they feel exploited, if they are not able to do anything, they are alienated. Okay, so in both the cases they are right. You cannot prove Marxist wrong ever. So this is not science, this is pseudoscience. Okay, so this is also one of the way to evaluate mode of production theory. If you are asked to evaluate, evaluation in the sense you have to give comment, your own comment. Okay, so you can say in the language of Popper, my analysis or my evaluation is that the Marxism stands to be pseudoscientific. Okay, however, However, क्योंकि आखिर में तुम्हें मार्क्स की साइड में लेना है, you'll have to support Marx, okay, because he is the main scholar, not Popper. Okay. However, it is only because of the theories and because of the insights on insights that Marx has provided to us, okay, from the graveyards of history, that today welfare of the workers and the labor laws, insurance, pension, all these things are being taken care of. Okay, so the way we are living today is nothing but the gift of Marx. All of us enjoy pension, security, welfare schemes. It is only because of Marx. If Marx was not there, तो जो लोग बोलते हैं मार्क्सिज्म रेलेवेंट नहीं, बड़े ही बेवकूफ हैं वो, उन्हें पता ही नहीं होता है कि जो कॉन्सेप्ट वेलफेयर स्टेट का कॉन्सेप्ट, हाउ डिड वेलफेयर कैपिटलिज्म कम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस, हाउ डिड वेलफेयर स्टेट कम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस, हवा में थोड़ा ना आ गए, मार्क्सिज्म का इतना बड़ा इन्फ्लुएंस है. ओके. So this was all about it. Sixth question, identify similarities and differences between Marx's theory of alienation and Durkheim's theory of anomy. Let me do one thing. Take out A4 sheet. देखते हैं तुम जरा अपने खुद के दिमाग से क्या करते हो. ठीक है. A4 sheet निकालो. Let me check you on 20 mark question also. 10 mark तो हो गए बहुत. Let's see. What do you write in on something that is not explicitly taught to you? These things are known to you. Only that explicitly I have not taken a lecture separately. But let us assume tomorrow you may come across questions on which I have not taken any lecture. ऐसा भी तो होता है. ऐसा थोड़ा ना मैं ही बना रहा हूँ यूपीएससी का पेपर. ठीक है. So how will you deal with that? You should be ready for it. Let's see how are you going to tackle this question. Identify similarities and differences. Remember this. Similarities. You may take time here. Similarities and differences between Marx's theory of alienation and Durkheim theory of anomy. Take time. Think of the points. Similarities also, differences also. You will find many similarities, many differences. Just think. Do not write even if you don't want to write, but think of those points. Durkheim पढ़े हुए टाइम हो गया, लेकिन तुम्हें याद आएगा सब कुछ. इसी के साथ I'll take break 5 minutes. Let us start well. First, what will we do? Oh yeah. There are two keywords, alienation and anomy. So first task would be always to define these two keywords. Okay. What will I define first? Anyone. इसमें कोई वो नहीं है, पत्थर की लकीर. You can start with definition of anomy, or you may even start with definition of alienation. Does not matter. Okay. Anomy. What is anomy? It is nothing but breakdown of moral values and standard ethics. Which held or which hold society together, or which integrate societies. Simple. Okay. What is alienation? Alienation is nothing but breakdown of the natural interconnectedness between men and produce. Simple. Okay, now what will I do? I have defined. अब definition दे दिया, कितने marks का question है ये? 20 mark question. So with definition I have secured 1.5 mark. ठीक है? Now what is the next point? I will say both anomy and alienation are theoretical response to the evils of modernity. ठीक है? Theoretical response to the evils of modernity by the scholars who are the product of modernity. Okay, Marx and Durkheim. ठीक है? Theoretical response to the evils of modernity. And is, as you know, that sociology developed only as a reaction to the evils of modernity. And with anomy developed Durkheim. Anomy gave rise to Durkheim. Alienation gave rise to Karl Marx. Anomy gave rise to structural functionalist theory because he was concerned with the breakdown of the values or the structures which had integrated society. Now those structures or values have gotten broken down due to individualism, and therefore he is concerned with the glue, the patchwork that is going to fix the society again. Okay, Durkheim. Marx, on the other hand, is highly revolutionary, and he believes that it is not the patchwork or glue that is going to fix society, rather we have to overhaul the whole structure of society. The structure has to be changed altogether. Okay, both study people in society. ये तो बड़ा सिंपल सा हो जाएगा. I mean everybody studies people in society in sociology. तो वो ज़्यादा मजा नहीं आया. Okay. Next, I'm talking about similarities here. Now I have choice. Either I write the similarities in point, or I may make a table, but generally table should be made to show differences. Okay, to make a table to show similarities is not a great idea. Better to write similarities in point fashion, point wise. Okay, so both anomy and alienation are theoretical response to the evils of modernity. Second, both anomy and alienation have led to the rise of individuals. Both anomy and alienation have led to the rise of individuals. Okay, alienation. Individuals, which individuals? Working class is a victim of alienation. Okay, anomy has led to rise of breakdown of moral values, individualism. Okay, third, both anomy and alienation are forms of diagnosis. Forms of diagnosis done by Marx and Durkheim. on modernity. Marx and Durkheim on modernity, specifically modern industrial societies. Can we say individualism led to anomie, less cohesion? Yes, in fact, in case of anomie, the cause and effect are not so. I mean, the functionalists, the problem with functionalists is that they are not able to establish cause effect. In social world, we cannot say whether individualism led to anomie or anomie led to individualism. Okay. What we can say at max is that, like for example, as you know, I told you that Enlightenment, French Revolution, Industrial Revolution led to changes in society. Okay. Some people may say that with the change came anomie. So, but some people would say only with the rise of individualism came anomie, because Enlightenment was nothing but manifestation of individualism. They were talking about individual rights and all those. So वो ना cause effect establish हो नहीं पाता है ढंग से. Okay. Now, the next similarity, the anomic division of labor that Durkheim talks about, anomic division of labor, is very much similar to alienation felt by working class, right? What was anomic division of labor? In anomic division of labor, what was happening? I talked about three forms of division of labor. Three abnormal forms of division of labor. Regulation. Okay. Inadequate division of labor, वो third form है. In anomic division of labor, what were the workers doing? Why did Durkheim call it anomic division of labor? During that time also I told you that there is similarity of what Durkheim is telling us and what Marx would say, how Marx would look at the anomic division of labor. Repetitive tasks. Yes, monotonous and repetitive task, but this is what alienation is. Okay, alienation from the species being. No more creativity, repetitive and monotonous task. Okay, this is what alienation is. But what is the difference? Okay, now I will talk about differences. Difference lies in this fact that to Durkheim, anomie is a temporary aberration. Okay, temporary aberrations, and that is why anomic division of labor is also temporary phenomena. Okay, and this abnormal division of labor will become normal with reforms. Okay, with social reforms. So, when it comes to differences, anomie to Durkheim is a temporary aberration. Temporary aberration. And can be healed with social reforms. This is what Durkheim says. Temporary aberration है, it's like, that water is stuck in that pipeline, कुछ कचड़ा है उसको साफ कर देते हैं, then natural flow will continue. Okay, so some reform will have to be done. for those moral values to get restored again. Okay, aberration can be healed with social reforms. But Marx, on the other hand, believed that alienation is at its peak in capitalism, and it is the structural change. It is the structural change that has to be done. Reforms will not help. Communism will help. And communism can be done only by revolution. And there is a lot of difference between reforms and revolution. Revolution is change of the structure. Reform is change in the structure. Okay. Reform is change in the structure. Revolution is change of the overhaul. Change of the structure. Okay. So Durkheim would now talk about revolutions and moving towards another form of society. Okay, Durkheim rather would try to fix this anomaly within the society. Okay, वो जैसे like for example, मार्क्स वुड से अपना घर बदल दो, Durkheim वुड से घर पे जो प्रॉब्लम है उसको ठीक कर लो ना, घर बदलोगे इतना पैसा लगेगा, ठीक है. Secondly, Durkheim believed that division of labor. Durkheim believed that anomy is going to make division of labor abnormal. Okay. What is that abnormal division of labor? Anomic. Inadequately coordinated. And forced. Anomy is going to make division of labor abnormal. We will have anomic division of labor where we have monotonous, repetitive tasks, where we will have forced division of labor where people are not appointed on the basis of merit, recognition, but purely on the basis of contacts or ye wo sab. Okay, forced division of labor. Ascriptive features. You will be appointed if you are upper caste or men or close contact. Okay, not appointed if you are women, Dalit, or not having any contact. So this is forced division of labor. Okay. In the sense, you are forcing someone to do some work only because he or she belongs to or belongs to upper or lower caste or whatever that may be. It is not based on merit. Okay. So if you see lower caste people working in manual scavenging, okay, so that is manifestation of forced division of labor. Till date, most of the people in manual scavenging or dirty occupations, so called as dirty occupations, okay, the same occupations that today we do not call as dirty, rather we respect them because they are involved in sanitation, sanitization जिसको हम बोलते हैं, सैनिटाइजेशन की अब इज्जत बन गई है, ठीक है, लॉकडाउन के बाद से. The same thing which was looked down upon, okay, now it is considered as something that is important. Okay, anyhow, so anomy is going to make division of labor abnormal. But what does Marx say? Marx says that alienation is going to make division of labor exploitative. and oppressive. Why? Because the people employed in the work, they neither have control over what kind of work they do, what amount they should get for the work that they are doing. They do not have any claim over their own produce, and they do not have any freedom to get involved with the people while working on that produce. Okay, production process, like for example today, is highly globalized. Some components are made in America, some are made in China. So the production process is not that simple assembly line. इट्स असेंबली लाइन को आप ऐसे सोचो इतनी लंबी है, अमेरिका से लेके चाइना तक की असेंबली लाइन. चाइनीज वर्कर डू नॉट नो हु इज एट द अदर एंड ऑफ दैट अमेरिकन असेंबली लाइन. बस काम करते जा रहे हैं. तो what you are doing is highly microscopic amount of work. You do not really know where and what form of this thing is going, what is the form that this thing is going to take after the completion of production process. You are only concerned with paycheck, पैसा. ठीक है, ये काम कर लिया, पैसा दो. दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव बिकम टुडे, व्हिच वी वर नॉट इन दोज डेज. दिस इज व्हाट मार्क्स सेज. ओके, तो बहुत डिफरेंस इन दोनों के इन थॉट्स में. ओके, नाउ thirdly, he believed that anomie is a mass phenomenon. Anomie is a mass phenomenon. In the sense, everybody is going to feel anomie. Everyone. Okay, everyone is going to feel anomie. The moral breakdown of values, norms, everyone is going to feel. That is temporary period. Okay, in that absence of morality, you would not feel integrated either to your work, you would not feel integrated either to the state, you would not feel integrated to anything. Highly individualism. Okay, you would not be concerned about people, their misery, their conditions. This is what anomie is. Very much like alienation, very much. Okay, but alienation on the other hand is a class phenomenon. Marx believed it is the proletarian alienation that is the biggest evil of the capitalism. Bourgeois alienation is something that they are not victim of, in the sense they are not exploited. Okay, but proletarian alienation is something that is the major evil of capitalism. Okay, and it is the proletariats only who will have to bring change. State is not going to do anything. State is only going to help the bourgeoisie. Okay, so we cannot expect anything from the state. So state secures the interest of capitalist class. So to think of state working for the workers would be very idiotic proposition according to Marx. Okay, that is why Marx never believed in welfare state. ये वो सब ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. Okay. Fourth, Durkheim believed anomie can be fixed by reforms. ये मैंने बता दिया क्या? ये बोल दिया क्या मैंने? Anomie can be fixed by social reforms. हाँ, ये बोल दिया मैंने. So next point would be anomie creates abnormal division of labor. ये बोल दिया, ये भी बोल दिया. फिर क्या बचता है? अब तो और कुछ ज्यादा कोई पॉइंट होएगा नहीं फिर. there's not much of difference left then in that case, okay, between anomy and alienation. But yes, you can write one more point. Anomy reflects only breakdown of morality. Breakdown of morality. Okay. Anomy reflects only breakdown of morality. Okay. And the laws and state are indicators, not indicators. Law and state are the organs that are going to fix it. Okay. But Marx believed that alienation reflects not the breakdown of morality, rather, alienation reflects breakdown of natural interconnectedness between men and produce, which is legitimized by the laws and state. So laws and state are not those organs which are going to help in fixing anomy. Laws and state are those organs which are going to help the bourgeois class alienate the working class. Okay, so laws and state, Durkheim expects a lot from these organs, but Marx do not expect anything from these organs. These are only superstructural institutions supporting the bourgeois class. Okay. Now, in conclusion, what you can write? In conclusion, you can describe that anomy and alienation both being the evils of modernity have been highly instrumental in the development of conservative and radical reaction to modernity, thereby leading to the rise of sociology. Okay. This was all about this question. Now, next is according to Marx, capitalism transforms even the personal relationship between men and women. Critically examine with illustration from contemporary Indian context. ये अभी तो नहीं हो पाए और वैसे भी I think they have written this thing wrong. The question should have been according to Engels. Marx never talked about men and women. It was Engels, the collaborator of Marx. हो जाती गलतियां एग्जामिनर से भी कभी कभी. ओके, नॉट अ बिग डील. तो एग्जामिनर एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं हमसे कि हम ये चीज समझे खुद ही. ठीक है. So you can cut it and write Engels. Marx never said anything about women. Okay, he said, but it was Engels basically who said. It was not Marx. So capitalism transforms even the personal relationships between men and women. When I'll teach you Origin of Family, Private Property and State, a thesis written by Engels. Okay, there you will get to know what happened to women while men were creative and all those things. These things were happening, needs were developed, technology were developed. What were women doing? This is something that Engels has worked on. Okay, so you can simply understand. To give you one simple example, capitalism transforms even the personal relationship between men and women. See, there is one scholar, Christine Delphi. You will remember this work easily. Okay, Engels और Christine Delphi almost एक ही जैसी बात करते हैं. Okay, what are they saying? Christine Delphi says that not factory, it is the household. The household, which is the mode of production. Okay, household is the mode of production. Okay, not the industry per se, that is the mode of production. Okay, or the land, it is the household that is the mode of production, where we have relations of production between men and women. Okay, and what is the means of production? Means of production is caring and domestic chores. This is the means of production. Now, just think like this. Men who are the proletariats, the industry, when they enter house, they become bourgeois. Okay, and it is the women who is now seen as proletariat in relation to the men. It is the man who is the owner of the household. Okay, the head of the household. Men are the head of household. In the sense, relation of production asymmetrical between men and women. Okay, and women is the one who is running the house. Just think like this. Just like proletariats are running the industries, it is women who are running the household. But just like proletariats running industry, but still the owner is bourgeoisie. Similarly, women running the household, owner are the men. So the proletariats of industry are the bourgeoisie of household. And the relation between men and women have been transformed only in capitalism, because capitalism has made men enter into public sphere. If you remember, I told you that industrial revolution actually led to sexual division of labor between men and women. So men were those who were seen as worthy of the paid labor. Work that they would do would be paid labor, and the work that women do is the unpaid labor, because that is not work in the eyes of productive society. Okay, that is simply care labor. Okay, so this is how capitalism has transformed relation between men and women. Now women have become alienated from their true potential. Okay, this is what basically the idea is. So it should not have been Marx here, it should have been Engels. But when I teach you Engels and family, so this question is actually from family unit. Okay, then I'll teach you this. And also remember, women have become dependent on men. This is what capitalism has done. Okay, in capitalism, you know that the wage given to women is lower than that of men. Gender wage gap is there, and this re-establishes and legitimizes the dependence of women over men, which helps in formulation of male-headed households. So this is what capitalism has done. Okay, capitalism has also been highly instrumental in giving a price tag to the men. Dowry का रेट बढ़ते जा रहा है अब. Okay, the more billionaire you become, the more the price of dowry increases. Okay, so ये सब किया है कैपिटलिज्म ने, रिलेशन बिटवीन मेन एंड वुमेन को ऐसे ट्रांसफॉर्म किया, बट इसकी डिटेल हम बाद में जाके करेंगे. एनालाइज द सेलिएंट फीचर्स ऑफ हिस्टोरिकल मटेरियलिज्म. दिस यू कैन डू इजीली, इसमें मेरा कुछ है नहीं बताने का. नेक्स्ट, समटाइम्स वर्कर्स डू नॉट फील अटैचमेंट फॉर देयर वर्क. मार्क्स फॉर्म्ड अ थ्योरी फॉर दिस सिचुएशन. व्हाट इज दैट थ्योरी? एलियनेशन. वेरी नाइस, हो गया. In Marxian classification of society, feudal and slave societies are very important. How are they different from each other? तो कर लोगे. Feudal and slave society. Easy. Okay. Examine Marx's view on class in itself and class for itself with reference to proletarians. Easy. So basically, Marx is over. Now, Durkheim. Let us see Durkheim's question. Critically analyze Durkheim's views on elementary forms of religious life and role of religion. ये कर लोगे. Also discuss the consequence of religious revivalism in contemporary society. Religious revivalism आगे जाके आएगा जब हम religion पढ़ेंगे, अभी नहीं. Okay. Next, what are the problems in observing social facts and Durkheim's views? कर लोगे. भाई social fact, the problems are done in class already. The biggest problem is in observing social fact is the observation itself. ठीक है, सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम तो यही है. How do you observe is the biggest problem in observing. How do you observe family? These are not empirical phenomena, not empirically not visible. Family or nation or religion, these are social fact, and therefore we have to treat them as things. अच्छा, when you treat them as things, then comes second problems. How will you, चलो आपने, you have treated them as things, but then how will you rid yourself of the values, predispositions, judgments and biases that you have for that thing? Crime, it is very difficult for us to get rid of the values that we have against crime. We think crime is very bad, something हट जाना चाहिए, ये वो सब, but to treat crime as crime only and not good or bad is very difficult task. Okay. Religion, same religion which has caused atrocities. Okay. Fundamentalism, sectarian wars, Shia Sunni. Okay. Communalism. These are those things, when you start treating religion as social fact, you have to rid yourself of all those values, predispositions that you have towards any religion, whether it is Hinduism, whether it is Islam. Okay. Nation, the same nation which has taken lives of people more than the epidemic. Okay. Rabindranath Tagore says, nationalism is the biggest epidemic. जो हमें पता ही नहीं चला है आज तक. हमें लगता है epidemic होते हैं viruses. Okay. Nationalism is the epidemic. Why? It is the nationalism which has taken millions of lives. World War was nothing but struggle between nations. Nationalism has taken more lives than epidemic. It is the nationalism only which has led to partition between India and Pakistan. Okay, and every year लोग मरते हैं नेशन के नाम पे. It is the bigger epidemic. So when we give importance to coronavirus, so we are idiots. We are not able to realize that the bigger virus is nation, which we consider as normal. Okay. But anyhow, प्रॉब्लम्स इन ऑब्जर्विंग सोशल फैक्ट, आप ये कर लोगे आराम से, इसमें कुछ है नहीं. कॉज इफेक्ट एस्टेब्लिश करना देन ऑब्वियसली बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट. ओके, these are those things which you will find difficulty in while observing or while treating social fact as things. Okay, so and the even bigger problem is to formulate a theory out of something that is not visible. Okay, experimental method, concomitant variation. But Durkheim did it in his theory of suicide. Ultimately, this is what you have to write. That despite all these problems, Durkheim clearly highlighted how suicide as a social fact can be treated as thing and can be theorized on when he discussed suicide rate as a phenomenon, as a social fact. Okay. Next is, how well do you think Tony's, Durkheim, Weber and Marx? ये तो अभी तुम कर नहीं पाओगे जब तक वेबर तुम्हें नहीं आता. Okay. Let us assume there is no Weber in this question. How well do you think Tony's, Durkheim and Marx predicted the character of modern society? क्या बात है? Tony's. Tony's, if you remember, is that scholar who has differentiated between Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. Okay, that is community and association. Now the question is, what is the prediction given by Tony's? Prediction is that we will have loss in degree of intimacy. That means we will have individualism. And Durkheim was very much inspired by the writings of Tony's. That is why when Durkheim says simple and complex society, when he talks about simple complex society, he differentiates simple and complex only on the basis of solidarity. Okay, so the angle of solidarity, that we had high degree of solidarity, high collective values, and now we have lower degree of solidarity. Okay, due to anomie, individualism is there, but then again organic solidarity will be coming, but this solidarity will not be as strong as that one that we had. So you will see a lot of similarities between Tony's and Durkheim because Durkheim is inspired by Tony's only. Okay. The only difference is that Durkheim has actually worked a lot on this, what is happening here, how we have loss in degree of intimacy. So he has theorized on it. Okay. Tony's, Durkheim, you know, predicted the character of modern society. Okay, individualism hoega, moral values ki loss hoega, but then we will have organic solidarity one day, which will restore the moral fabrics and restore the interdependency, fix the solidarity. Marx, you know, how did he predict? Okay, he believed that capitalism, due to its inherent contradictions, will also collapse. Okay, and then we will have socialism, which will be led by dictatorship of proletariats. Once distribution of goods are done, then we will have communism, that is stateless society. Okay. Egan Patra, what would be the critique of Tony's? It's very easy to critique these scholars because they do not do any empirical studies. ये घर बैठ के काम करते हैं. So, whosoever is an armchair philosopher, it's easy to criticize him simply by arguing that it was not based on empirical data or observation. Okay, and it was simply inductive reasoning that they have applied. Okay, they saw their society, German society, he belongs to German society, and he believed this is what modernity will do in all the societies. So this is inductive reasoning, okay, which cannot be falsified. So if it cannot be falsified, it is not scientific, something like this. So this way you can easily criticize. Explain Durkheim's basic arguments on suicide. Can you analyze high suicide rates of contemporary Indian society with Durkheim's theory? कर लोगे? In what way did Durkheim perceive religion as functional to society? कर लोगे? Let me tell you. What is the function of religion? What is the function of religion? First of all, forget what you think of religion as. Okay. Religion is, as you know, anything can be religion. Okay, set of practice beliefs centering around sacred. Anything can be sacred. Whatever is forbidden and set apart. Okay, centering around which we constitute moral community called as church. Okay. So, first of all, the very function of religion is to integrate. It binds the members. It binds the members. That means it creates solidarity. Right? Binds the members, creates solidarity. When all of you consider nationalism, Indian nationalism, as sacred, so all of you will stand up before India Pakistan World Cup. Okay. And it will bind all of you together. The spirit of nationalism will prevail all over the stadium. Okay. So it binds the people. Okay. It charges them. Okay. Rises collective effervescence. Okay. Transcends the individuals from the level of profane to the sacred. This is what it is. Second, it is a form of social control. This is also function. Form of social control. And function, when we study function of anything, so function of anything with respect to what? To the society. Function of religion to the society. Remember like this. Okay. Okay, function of religion to the society. Function of religion to the society. Form of social control also. Because when you are integrated, that means social fact, religion, which is now external to all of you, is coercive as well. So it will not let you do anything that is ultra vires of the integration that you have established. Okay. So anything like, for example, आप राष्ट्रगान गा रहे हो, ठीक है, national anthem. Now you cannot, in those 52 seconds, you cannot do anything that is ultra wires of the collective effervescence. Okay. Otherwise, you will feel the consequences of it. Okay. So it is a form of social control. It's controlling you, coercive on you. Okay. So these are largely two functions. Okay. Third is, as you know, it is euphoric. Okay. Religion also has cognitive functions. Remember. Cognitive functions. In the sense, the meaning of right, wrong, moral, immoral, everything is coming from religion. You know what is moral and what is not moral only because you know religion. Religion is something that has bind us, that has integrated us in the thread of moral fabric. Okay. So these are the functions. Now, discuss distinct sociological but remember, when you are discussing this question, in what way did Durkheim perceive religion as functional to society, you will also have to discuss the modern forms of religion. Okay, modern forms of religion. Remember, while writing Durkheim on religion, always give focus on totemism. Okay, you have to write totemism, and then after that you have to discuss modern forms of religion. Okay, and finally you should also discuss why religion is not functional. In the sense, you have here the appropriate structure of this question should have been definition of religion, of course, then functions of religion, okay, where you are talking about totemism, okay, each clan having their totems, binding them, form of social control, cognitive functions. Okay, and then finally, modern forms of religion, and then the dysfunctions. Sorry for using this word. I should not be using this word right now. You will get to know this word later on. But you can write dysfunction in the sense religion not only binds people or is a form of social control, it also divides the people. Okay, it also divides the people. The problem is when suppose if I say that communalism, fundamentalism, these things have divided us, but even still you are not criticizing, you are not able to criticize Durkheim. Why? Because although these forces, these things have divided us, but the people are integrated within those blocks only because of their belief. Okay, so those united people are divided. Okay, so but their unity is coming from religion only, so that is still not a criticism. तो दरखाइम अभी भी राइट है, बस ये है कि it is not functional to the whole society. You cannot say it is functional to the whole society because society is not homogeneous today. Durkheim was not living in a globalized world. Today we have complex worlds. Okay, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Sikhs, Parsis, Jews, सब रहते हैं साथ में और it will create conflict. Okay. Discuss distinct sociological method adopted by Durkheim in his study of suicide. What is that distinct sociological method adopted by Durkheim? Can someone tell me? Distinct sociological method. भाई हाँ बिल्कुल सही बात. You know that sociological method as a term you have read when I taught you rules of sociological method. In that rules of sociological method, the last rule was all about indirect experimentation. Indirect experimentation is done by comparative analysis, concomitant variation. Okay. So these are those distinct methods that Durkheim has used in suicide study. In the study of suicide, Durkheim has used comparative analysis, concomitant variation. Comparative analysis how? Comparing between the force of integration of one religion with another religion. Protestants versus Catholics. Comparison, which helped us to understand that Protestants are committing suicide because of low integration in comparison to the integration that we have in Catholicism. Why they are so much integrated? Because the moral values of Catholics are like that only. To commit suicide is sin. Okay. So ये आपको करना है बेसिक. And also you will have to criticize also this theory of suicide. Remember. Okay. Question is discuss distinct sociological method adopted by Durkheim. Although you know it was a positivist study, Durkheim came out with a law also at the end of the study. But you will have to criticize also that suicide, what seems to be suicide, was not really a suicide according to Atkinson. It was really an interpretation of those people who collected data and called it suicide. It could have been murder also. So in social world, you cannot really objective, you cannot have objective data. You cannot say that this is suicide only. It could have been murder, it was interpretation. Okay. So how would you conduct a scientific study that way if the data is not objective or factual? Okay. Now next, elaborate views of Durkheim on elementary forms of religious life. ये तो कर लोगे. According to Durkheim, the essence of religion in modern society is the same as religion in primitive society. ये तो कर लोगे. Right? Can someone tell me in one word the essence of religion? Essence. What is the essence in one word? Sacred. हाँ, ठीक. Sacred involves collectivity. So sacred is there. The essence of religion is sacred. Remember this. Because religions are formed around what we consider as sacred. Religions are not formed around what we consider as profane. Okay? There's a sacred around which we constitute moral community. So essence of religion is sacred only. Compare Marx with Durkheim with reference to framework of division of labor. कर लोगे? I've also given table in handout of Durkheim telling you about division of labor theory of Smith, Marx and Durkheim. Okay. Remember, जब हम division of labor, when we are comparing division of labor of Marx and Durkheim, we should also be talking about Adam Smith. Okay, because Adam Smith is the first person to talk about division of labor. उसके बाद मार्क्स है, उसके बाद डर्कहाइम है. So first start with Adam Smith version. How did Adam Smith look at division of labor? Okay, to him division of labor was a source of productivity. So his view of division of labor was highly economic one. But since we are students of sociology and we have and there is something that you can write even in difference between sociology and economy. Okay, if the question is on economy and sociology, you can discuss division of labor, how it was viewed by Smith and how it was viewed by Marx and division of Durkheim. Okay, so खत्म है. बाकी अब कुछ है. Write short note on the following, keeping sociological perspective in view. It does not matter even if this line is not written, keeping sociological perspective, because we have to write sociological perspective only in all the questions. Sacred and profane you can discuss easily, you can write easily. Okay, show how Durkheim through the study of totemism demonstrates the reality of religion. कर लोगे? Simple है, direct question. Social fact is to be treated as thing. Simple question. Compare Marx with Durkheim with reference to framework of division of labor. Repeat. Write short note on subject matter of 2009 पे चलेंगे नहीं, यहाँ तो जाने नहीं. फिर भी write short note on subject matter of sociology according to Durkheim. What is the subject matter of sociology according to Durkheim? What is that one thing that sociologists should study? Social facts. That is the subject matter of sociology according to Durkheim. Social fact. Okay. That's it. So we'll start with Max Weber. Okay. From the next class. And after Max Weber, we'll pick up speed also. Because rest, everything is very easy as I told you. Okay. Max Weber is the last pillar that we have to cover. Sir, neo-Marxism. No, we don't have class on Sunday. Neo-Marxism. नियो मार्क्सिज्म को ज्यादा सीरियसली मत लेना, ठीक है. ये जो यूपीएससी है, याद, हाँ, कंपैरिजन बिटवीन डर्कहाइम एंड मार्क्स. और क्या किया है? ये तो किया है हमने अभी. एनॉमी कर लिया, डिवीजन ऑफ लेबर, एनॉमी एलियनेशन, डिवीजन ऑफ लेबर, डन. कंपैरिजन बिटवीन मार्क्स एंड डर्कहाइम. ओके, एक और बार कर लेंगे, कोई बात नहीं है. सी मार्क्सिज्म एंड न्यू मार्क्सिज्म. मार्क्सिज्म is all about economic base, superstructure. Superstructure catering to economic base. This is what Marxism is. Okay. Superstructure catering to economic base. And whosoever owns, the owner of economic base, the owner of the economic base. Okay. Whosoever is the owning class, the ruling class, that is the ruling class. The ruling class will justify everything on the basis of the superstructural institutions. So superstructure justifies the conditions present in the economic base. Okay. So if you are poor, that is justified by religion, media, education. Okay. So how education will justify your poverty? Education will tell us that system is based on merit. If you do hard work, then you get fruits. If you do not do hard work, you do not get fruits. So if tomorrow, if you do not get fruits, you will think, okay, I did not do hard work. This is how education has legitimized inequality. So education will not let you bring revolution. Education will only make you think that you are idiot. You did not study properly. Okay. Education, see, the fact is, education is not based on merit, according to Marx. Education is not based on meritocracy. Education runs on class privileges. If you belong to upper class, you get admission in Oxford, Harvard. If you do not belong to upper class, you do not get admission in these colleges, Stanford and all those. For example, if you are, suppose I am a very BPL type person. Okay, I am lower class. I want to study in IIM. I want to study in IIM Ahmedabad. I want to write CAT paper. Okay. The fact is that, and this is 100% fact, you can also check this in all the IIMs. Okay. You will not see any person coming from lower strata. सब के सब affluent class हैं. Okay. Middle class or upper middle class. Okay. Because the fees of IIM at least 10 lakh, 15 lakh. A BPL cannot afford it. So this is how IIM excludes poor people. तुम लोग नहीं आओगे हमारे पास. You cannot be managers. You are poor people. Only the upper class can be managers. This is what education does to you. The education would normalize these things. Okay, myth of meritocracy. Yes, ये concept Louis Althusser का है. I did not want to take his name. Althusser. Louis Althusser is a Marxist scholar जो मैं आगे आपको पढ़ाऊंगा. अभी यहाँ नहीं बताना चाहता था मैं. Okay. This is what Marxism is. Neo-Marxists, they believe that, Marx has given too much of focus on economic base. Marx has given too much of economic base. The fact is, unless dominant class control not only economic base but also superstructure. Okay. See, both of them have to be controlled. Marx believed that dominant class will have control over economic base. The forms of consciousness will automatically get developed to justify the conditions present in economic base. But neo-Marxists believe that Marx did not give focus, did not give importance to superstructure. Did not give importance to superstructure, and this explains why revolution did not come. Why revolution did not come? Why they are saying that Marx did not give importance to superstructure? You would not see Marx writing anything explicitly on education. Okay, how education actually justifies. ये सब मार्क्सिस्ट बेचारों को आगे मेहनत करनी पड़ी कि मार्क्स क्या बोलना चाह रहा होगा, सुपरस्ट्रक्चर कैसे जस्टिफाई करता है. Marx, you would not see Marx on education. Okay, you may see Marx on religion, but that is also very less content. Okay, you would not see Marx on media. Okay, you would not see Marx on family. It is Engels or other Marxists who have done all those things. So Marx has spoken very less on superstructure, focus a lot on economic base. Neo-Marxists are those people who have written a lot on superstructure. Neo-Marxists give importance to superstructure. Okay, how? Now I'll tell you. For example, there is one scholar, Louis Althusser. He has given importance to one superstructure called as ideology. Okay, ideology and state. State is also superstructure. Okay, so he has given importance to both ideology and state. How? I will explain later on. Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci has given lot of focus on these institutions. You will see in his writing, he talks about religion when I'll teach you later, not right now. Religion, media, education. You will see he has written extensively on these three. Okay. Then you will see Adorno, Horkheimer. Okay. Marcuse, Habermas. Adorno, Horkheimer, Marcuse, Habermas. What are they writing on? They are writing on media. याद आ गया? How media creates false needs, cultural goods, cultural industry, media. So you will see that each Marxist has studied one or the other superstructure exclusively. Some of them have studied intensively some of these superstructures. Some of them have studied some other superstructure. Okay, there is one Marxist like Paul Willis. Paul Willis, neo-Marxist basically. Okay. Paul Willis. You will see he has written extensively on education. Okay, Paul Willis. Or Paulo Freire. He has also written a lot on education. So this is the basic difference between Marxism and neo-Marxism. Marx focused on economic base, neo-Marxist focused on superstructure. Okay. Second, now this is important. ये तुम्हें याद रहेगा अब. Critical theory or neo-Marxist. Remember, Marx told us revolution will come. Okay, now understand the chronology. Marx told us revolution will come. It is inevitable. Okay, but revolution आया नहीं, आ नहीं रहा. वर्ल्ड वॉर हो गया, ये वो हो गया, सब हो गया, ग्रेट डिप्रेशन हो गया, ठीक है, सब कुछ हो गया. Revolution never came. Now critical theory came to explain. Critical theory came to explain why revolution never came. They came to explain why revolution never came. Okay, and what is that one thing that they talked about, specifically critical theory, who are also neo-Marxist? And now understand the chronology. Okay. Gramsci and George Lukács. First, these two came, and then came critical theory. Critical theory is inspired by the writings of Gramsci, George Lukács. Gramsci is writing in response to totalitarianism, the rise of totalitarianism. Okay, after World War, we had people like Hitler, Mussolini coming. Okay, capitalism should have been gone, but we had totalitarianism, nationalism. Nationalism was, subordinated to one individual, and everybody had become subjugated to nation. They were thinking that whatever we will do for nation. Okay, so the question was not on communism, socialism, it was nationalism all over. Okay, which nation is going to rule the world? Something like that. Okay, so the whole discourse on poverty, prosperity of few class, poverty of many was gone. Okay, it was all about which nation is going to be the king, something like that. So Gramsci believed totalitarianism has somehow, you know, uh, helped in evading the question on poverty and all those things. In the name of nationalism, even poverty is justified and legitimized. Okay, so when Gramsci was writing like this, these people, critical theorists, who are they? Adorno, Horkheimer. They got highly impressed with Gramsci and they formed an institution called as Frankfurt School. Frankfurt School. The objective of Frankfurt School to explain this, why a revolution never came. Okay, Frankfurt School was established and they believed a revolution never came only because of cultural industry and rise of totalitarianism. Cultural industry and rise of totalitarianism. Okay. Why are they talking about cultural industry? Because, during that time in Europe, anti-Semitism was at its peak. And these were Jews people only. Okay, Adorno and Horkheimer, they are Jews. So they fled Germany and they went to America. Okay, America mein baith ke they were criticizing capitalism. And America mein they got exposure to Hollywood, radio, music. And they believed, ये लोग कौन है? These Americans, they are ये अपनी ही दुनिया में चल रहे हैं, म्यूजिक सुन रहे हैं, इनको पता नहीं है क्या गरीबी हो रही है. They do not have they not read Marx ever? How idiots are they? How ignorant are these people? Okay, they are living in false consciousness. So they are writing every time about music, pop music. That is why Adorno is also called as musicologist. Okay, he has written a lot on music. Pop music कैसे हमें nullify करता है, हमारी consciousness खत्म कर देता है. Okay, and then he has described radio and Hollywood as the symbols of dream. When you think that this is what success is, okay, this is what success is, then you would never think about poverty. Okay, you would rather try to become like one of them. Instead of bringing revolution, you would want to become like one of them. And this is how capitalism maintains itself, by giving these dreams to people that come to America, it's a land of opportunity. Okay, everyone can become whatever they want to. This is what capitalism does to us. Okay, whenever we see America, we see lights. Okay, ऐसे चलती फिरती lights, बड़े-बड़े towers. And if you see these things, you would never want to overthrow capitalism. Rather, you would want to become part of that capitalism. Okay. So, this is what Frankfurt School established. Totalitarianism. When you have nationalism at its peak. Okay. This one nationalism, totalitarianism or fascism or Nazism, how it actually helps capitalism. See, suppose I am a leader. Okay. And as a leader, I have spread hatred, okay, against one section. Okay, I have tried to mobilize the people by creating hatred amongst them towards or for one section. This is how nationalism develops in totalitarianism. Okay, for example, Hitler, he was a symbol of Germany to the Germans only because he could create division between who are the real Germans and who are not, the Jews. Okay, this is the an impure race. We are the pure race, and this is how pride got developed. Okay, in being Aryan. Similarly, when we see our prime minister doing anything like this, or not doing anything like this, but people interpreting like okay, that this is what nation our Hindu Rashtra is. Okay, and these are the people who have made it impure. Okay, and these are the people who we will never let in be a part of Hindustan. Okay, the Citizenship Amendment Act, which somehow also gives signal that these are the people not accepted on. So it gives a symbol that this is what the same nationalism is, okay, which is developed as a reaction or as a product of hatred towards one community. And when you have this form of nationalism, it supports capitalism. Why? Because now the objective is make in India, make for India, 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 India. So when you make in India, make for India, make by India, okay, so obviously capitalism will be very happy. Okay, we will make, okay. And what is capitalism? Capitalism runs on profit. It runs only profit, and to have profit you need bigger market. Okay, and if India can serve as a bigger market, so why not? If the name of India, okay, if the name of India becomes popular all over the world by one leader, okay, by one leader, everybody would want to come here. When he will, what will he do? He will start, you know, easing the business for the capitalist class. He will start making laws which will make the entry of the capitalist easier. So you will have Samsung plant in Gurgaon now. You will have Apple. Okay, so you will see disinvestment of PSUs. Okay, so these things will become normal because make in India as a nation has helped the capitalist class to proliferate themselves. So this is how nation as an ideology helps capitalists. Okay, it may not help poor because when you disinvest, when you let so many capitalist class come in, obviously the competitive, or obviously it also shows that state, which has a responsibility of welfare, is heading away from its responsibility and letting corporate class come in. Okay, so it somehow tells us that the poor or the weaker section or the marginalized section, they will be the victim of this because state is you know going away from the welfare responsibility. Instead of, we are having PSUs disinvestment, which should not have been there. Okay, okay. So this was neo-Marxist. There is one more dimension to neo-Marxist which I'll explain later on. तो क्या रहे, तो 5 बज गए भाई आज, चलो. So चलो, see you tomorrow then. सर कितने ईयर्स तक के क्वेश्चन लिखने हैं? सिर्फ 2013 तक, only till 2013. Okay, चलो. So we'll begin with Max Weber.